Hey, what a day. Ah, what a day. Oh, hello. Excuse me for one moment. What a day I've been through, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on a second. Much, much better. Well, hello, my dear watchers. It is I, Count Dracula, finally returned after my, clubbing I've been doing lately. Having a lot of fun. But, let's just say I feel like I've been left over New Year's. But of course, I had a lot of fun, acting like a teenager, being all cool towards all those young girls and all. And then I finally discovered, sooner or later, it's going to be Valentine's Day. And I've got a good review for you, ladies and gentlemen. But first, I need to get out of this greaser hipster look and into something more comfortable. Excuse me. So much better. I mean, I do like leather jackets, but sometimes I hate it when they make me sweat so much. That's why I never gonna wear sweatpants. I rather wear khakis than sweatpants. But anyway, enough about my enough about the club I went to, all the fun times I had there. It's time for us to talk about a Valentine, something just for Valentine's Day. And I've got a good vampire review for you folks. And it's a movie. But it's not like any other movie. For Valentine's Day, I'm gonna talk to you about a vampire movie ever made. And it was made in Spain. Sometimes these Spaniards, they always been so romantic, the way they talk and all. Like Antonio Banderas. You know, sometimes I like to have some of his charm. Let's see if I can do a good impression of Antonio Banderas. Hola, señorita. I am Antonio Banderas. And I am here to find someone who I can flirt with. Ole! But enough about Antonio Banderas. Let's get to the review, shall we? Now, this one is it started... Looks like my good old friend, Mr. Death is calling me, but I'll get to him later. Right now, let's review, shall we? Now, a Spanish horror movie, of course, at the end turns out to be a very good romance, is the one I want to review to you today is Dracula's Great Love. Made in Spain back in 1979. Now, this movie, Dracula's Great Love, it was made in Spain back in 1973. And not many people know that it's a Paul Naschy movie. Now, some of you don't know who Paul Naschy is. Well, let me clue you in. Paul Naschy, he's a Spaniard producer, director, and actor. And he's been doing a lot of Spanish horror movies, more than any horror icon we know in America. And this is the only movie he done where he played Dracula. Other movies, he's either playing a hunchback, or a zombie, or a werewolf. But of course, here's one thing very interesting about this movie. You see, it starts out, there is these two prowlers who goes into this new castle in Bogo Pass. And it turns out to be a hospital for the insane asylum, but it was shut down, owned by a man who goes by the name of Dr. Wendell Marlowe. Dr. Wendell Marlowe. Spoiler alert, he's Dracula. Me. Anyway, Dracula, who disguised himself as Dr. Marlowe, who owns a hospital, all of a sudden a buggy from out of nowhere collapsed. And in the buggy lies a man who goes by the name of Emil Polvey, along with a girl who seems to have the hots for him named Marlene, and 3 other girls, Karen, Senta, and Elke. One of the wheels from their buggy had fall off, and sadly the coach, he had a concussion. One of the hooves from the horses, one of the horses kicked him in the forehead and died. So now, Emir, Karen, Marlene, Centaur, and Elke, they had to find somebody where they decided to go to that abandoned hospital and found Dr. Marlowe, who is also Dracula. And he's also played by Paul Nashi, the horror icon of Spain. Now, the actress who played Karen, her real name is Heidi Politoff. Heidi Politoff, that's her name. She's a very lovely actress from France. French girl, And of course, this other actress who plays Centaur is played by Rosanna Yanni, that's her name. Rosanna Yanni. Now, she is a horror icon on many movies and dramas. I guess she's the scream queen of Spain. Throughout the whole movie, this girl who played Marlene, she is attracted to Emir, so they play kissy face in one of the rooms. Why, Senta seems to be very attractive to Dr. Marlowe. Why, Karen, she's just a normal, innocent young virgin girl who sort of is pretty much overwhelmed over Dr. Marlowe's hospitality. But this other girl named Elke, she doesn't like it. She has a bad feeling about it. You know, she should start going for her guts. I mean, trust her guts, trust her heart and all. But the actress who plays Centaur, she turned out to be quite of a womanizer, a fruzy. Now, from the beginning, there are these 2 men who are carrying a coffin into the castle, but sadly was bitten by a vampire, yours truly, and another one took the axe right on the head and collapsed down the ground. So now this one vampire, he starts coming after the women. And Marlowe, aka Dracula, tried to keep him at bay. Throughout the entire story, Emir, Marlene, Centaur, and Elke, one by one, got bitten and turned into vampires. But Karen, cannot bite her, because she is a virgin. Because I was planning to resurrect the coffin that I had lies my daughter named Rhonda. Rhonda. My daughter Rhonda was killed, and I tried to bring her back by having virgin blood. And I used Karen as I used Karen as the blood to bring back my daughter. Of course, I have more than one daughter. I mean, heck, in the Marvel Comics, I have one daughter named Lilith. Yeah, named after the first wife of Adam. Marvel has a really weird ways. Anyway, throughout the entire story, I, Dracula, and Karen, we started falling in love with each other. But Santa, being one of my brides, she got really ticked off about it, so she tried to kill her, but I stopped her. Now, I tried to bring my daughter back by using Karen's blood, but I spared her life. Even though I stick a dagger through her neck, I made sure she didn't die. So she's still alive and still human. So, I had my brides go find some fresh blood, another virgin somewhere. So, I found a farmer who got his leg caught by one of the bear traps that I sent out in the woods. And I got rid of him. As my brides, they found a farmer and his daughter. So what they done, they killed the farmer and took his daughter. And the farmer's daughter was good enough blood to bring back my daughter, and finally my daughter has finally back to her form, but not awake yet. Now, throughout the entire story, there's a lot of pacing going on and makes you want to shut it off and watch something else. But if you stay still and pay more attention to the whole story, it gets to the good part. And I have to warn you, I wouldn't recommend kids to watch this movie. Trust me, I wouldn't recommend this movie to be watched by kids, because it's rated R, because there's a lot of topless scenes in this movie. Mostly from the actors who plays Santa. Let's just say this movie has a lot of topless women, more than a callous nudity. Not that I ever been in one. Please. And of course there is one brief sexuality, but nothing else happened. It just Santa, she's just more of a loose woman. She always gets so attracted to the nearest guy she meets. And that's why she was never the right girl. So, I just made her my bride. And two of the other brides, who is Marlene and Elke, they turned her into a vampire. And then here is the strange part. You see, I started to have I had some feelings towards Karen. Because she is an innocent girl, she is a virgin, and sadly I made love with her. But the problem is, I can't live throughout my internal life with her. I like Karen better than as a human being than a vampire. So, I did the most honorable thing. Although I brought my daughter back. Rana, I brought her back. But, let's just say I went too far on what I've done, so I had my daughter be pushed out into the river. Have her coffin just pushed out in the river, so she'll be stuck in the coffin in the middle of the lake. And as I tried to talk to Karen about... She should live her normal life as a normal girl. But sadly, she wanted to spend her entire life with me. So I done the most honorable thing in the world. I staked myself in the heart. I staked myself so I can let her go. And as for my brides, I handcuffed them to the dungeon and wait for the sun to burn them alive. Ah, what do you know? So, in the end, I made the most honorable sacrifice over love. Karen is now living her entire happy life. All of my brides are burned from the sun, and my daughter is trapped in the lake. Oh, and if you're wondering what happened to Irene, I mean the guy who's been flirting around with Marlene, he tried to attack Karen, but I fought against him and pushed him over the window, and he fell into one of the trees sticking out. So he got himself impaled. And of course, one of the thief I turned into a vampire. I'll get to Mr. Death later. Arrgh. Anyway, as for one of the thieves who's trying to find my gold after taking my daughter's body into the coffin, and I turned him into a vampire, he himself tried to attack Karen, but I stabbed him in the heart with one of the pokers I had next to my chimney. So pretty much, Karen lives happily ever after over my sacrifice. Now, some of you people might find this movie erotic, but if you watch to the end, you can find it's very emotional at the end, and very touching, and kind of romantic. So, I would say, for those of you, you should find it in the archives, or you can find it on DVD, Dracula's Great Love. It's a very interesting movie, so I think those of you should find it and give it a watch yourself. Now, first time I saw this movie, I didn't watch it as its own movie or DVD. I found it in another TV series. It was one of Elvira Mistress of the Dark's movie macabres. That's why I first found the movie, and I remember so much about the movie. And that Elvira, what a woman. Oh, and for those of you who are wondering, no, she's not a vampire. She's a witch. That's why I didn't go too far with Elvira, because she'll put a spell on me. But I do admire her style and her host of the show. Played by the talented actress Cassandra Peterson. Cassandra Peterson or Elvira Mistress of the Dark, it doesn't matter. I just like Elvira because of her wittiness. Her wittiness always intrigues me. So you can either find it in Elvira's movie macabre version of it, or watch the original movie itself. I'll answer it! Or watch the original movie itself. Trust me, they're both very good. Oh, sorry. Now, sooner or later I will return, my dear watchers, because remember when I told you about the secret origin about me, and I said I hate comic books? I don't hate all comic books involving me, so I decided, till next time, I'm gonna do a top 10 comic book Dracula's. Dracula comic books. Because there is a lot of comic books with Dracula in it, so therefore I'm going to talk about them. Some of them is crossover with the heroes, and others are just stories themselves of Dracula. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go. And tell Mr. Death that I'll get to him. I'll call him soon.